Welcome back to my channel. The silence has been broken, and the tension that has been building for weeks has finally erupted into an official declaration from the highest seat of authority in WWE. After a string of chaotic assaults, backstage panic, and a roster filled with unease, the one man who had remained quiet through it all has now stepped forward. Triple H, the chief content officer and the architect of modern WWE, has finally addressed the ongoing crisis in a message that shook the entire company to its core. His words were not soothing, not diplomatic, and certainly not meant to calm the storm. Instead, he delivered a stern, commanding proclamation that shifted the entire narrative from confusion to confrontation. His statement signaled a turning point, a new chapter where the company's patience has officially expired and the full weight of corporate power is now aimed at whoever is responsible for the attacks that have plagued WWE in recent weeks. What Triple H delivered was more than an announcement. It was a warning, a threat, and a declaration of war, all wrapped into one chilling address that promises nothing but escalation from here forward. From the moment SmackDown opened, it was clear this was not an ordinary night. There was no explosive energy, no roaring pyro, no electrifying introduction to set the tone. Instead, the show began with a stark, unyielding stillness. The opening montage that fans are accustomed to, the one that celebrates WWE's legacy and intensity, was nowhere to be found. Instead, what filled the screen was a cold, unmoving image of the WWE logo, an image that conveyed more severity and tension than any fireworks ever could. Michael Cole's voice, stripped of its usual excitement, carried a somberness that immediately alerted viewers something was wrong. His tone was heavier, deliberate, as he informed the world that a special address from corporate leadership was scheduled for later in the night. It wasn't promoted as entertainment. It wasn't teased as a surprise. It was framed as a necessary intervention from the top of the company. As the first hour progressed, the sense of unease only grew stronger. Every backstage scene felt tense, as though the walls themselves were listening. Conversations were whispered. Wrestlers exchanged wary glances. Even the usual hustle of the production crew seemed muted, as if everyone was waiting for something inevitable to happen. Matches felt different too, not because of the in-ring action, but because the cloud of uncertainty hovered over everything. Then, almost without transition, viewers were taken away from the arena. After a commercial break, instead of returning to the ring, the broadcast cut directly to a setting that demanded attention, a sleek, sharp, corporate office setting dominated by a massive desk, expensive decor, and the unmistakable atmosphere of authority. Triple H sat behind the desk, not dressed as the fierce competitor fans once knew in the ring, but as a leader prepared to deliver a decisive message. His posture was rigid, his hands steepled, and his expression severe. Every detail of the scene emphasized the seriousness of what was about to be said. When Triple H finally spoke, his voice carried the quiet force of someone who holds undeniable power and responsibility. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't show emotion. Instead, every word was delivered with precision, weight, and intention. He acknowledged the escalating pattern of unsanctioned attacks that have turned WWE programming into a battleground. He addressed the breaches of backstage security that have left superstars questioning their own safety. He highlighted the creeping presence of fear that has settled into the company, a presence that WWE has been forced to battle without public comment, until now. Triple H leaned forward slightly, eyes locked directly onto the camera, making it impossible for anyone watching to ignore the gravity of his words. He stated clearly and firmly that this situation was no longer simply part of the show. This is not storyline, he insisted. This is not theater. This is a security situation. In that moment, it became clear that the attacks had crossed a threshold, one that transformed them from shocking TV moments into legitimate threats against the safety of performers, staff, and even fans. Triple H declared that, effective immediately, the days of tolerating ambiguity or ignoring warning signs were over. The company would no longer allow these mysterious individuals to operate in the shadows. He labeled those responsible not as masterminds or revolutionaries, but as trespassers committing offenses, criminal acts disguised as drama. He made it clear that the line between entertainment and real danger had been crossed, and that WWE corporate leadership was now fully mobilized. What happened next solidified the seriousness of his directive. Without breaking eye contact with the camera, Triple H reached for the phone on his desk. As he addressed whoever was on the other end, he continued speaking directly to the audience, declaring that he was ordering the entire security infrastructure into a state of maximum alert. He listed every level of personnel, arena staff, backstage officials, security teams, anyone responsible for maintaining order within WWE's walls. He instructed them to treat any suspicious activity as a threat that required immediate, decisive action. The message was unambiguous. No more access loopholes, no more unverified entries, no more unidentified figures lurking backstage. The company itself had now entered the battlefield. The corporate machinery is fully engaged, moving with the force of a system designed to protect its people at any cost, and the silent war that has been happening in the shadows has now been exposed under the brightest possible spotlight. What Triple H didn't say may be even more revealing than what he did. Does he know the identities of those responsible? Is their information being withheld from the public? Is the company preparing for an even larger escalation behind the scenes? These questions now hang heavily over WWE, and fans everywhere are trying to piece together what this new era of heightened security means for the superstars we follow every week. One thing is certain, Triple H has drawn a line in the sand, and crossing it will carry consequences unlike anything we've seen before. He has shifted the power dynamic, taken control of the narrative, and promised that the days of fear and uncertainty are numbered. Whether the attackers will back down or retaliate remains to be seen, but what's undeniable is that the war Triple H referenced is no longer metaphorical. It's real, it's active, and it's underway. The question now becomes, will the increased security measures truly be enough to halt the attacks, or has this firm stance only provoked a more dangerous response? Fans will have to stay vigilant because this story is far from over. And as the situation intensifies, every episode, every segment, and every moment could contain the next explosive piece of the puzzle.
Stay tuned.
As the broadcast resumed after Triple H's chilling address, the atmosphere across the entire arena seemed to shift in ways that even the crowd could feel. The energy was different, heavy, and oddly restrained. The audience, usually loud and reactive to every spotlight and theme song that hits, found themselves murmuring, whispering, picking up on the tension that had spread through the locker room and now seeped into the seats surrounding the ring. Camera shots captured superstars backstage looking